Hello, I'm Yo-Yo Ma, and I am a reporter in training for Senn TV, and today I'm here to interview Ethan, who's a fellow cellist.
2, 3. Go ahead.
So first of all, Ethan, I'm so excited to meet you.
Excited to meet
Because
you
you're
too.
a fellow cellist,
Yeah.
and you're graduating in 5 months, 3 months?
I'm graduating in less than 3
Less than
months.
So, how do you feel? It's been a while since I was in high school. I'm just wondering, what do the last 3 months feel like? I can't wait to get out. There's so many things I want to do before I get out. Or what goes through your mind?
It's kind of exhilarating because there is so much to do, but there's also the concept of not knowing what comes next.
Right. And are you? Is what comes next something you look forward to? Is it fearful? Are you? What's happening? What's your energy level about that? For that?
I'm anxious about it, but in an excited way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for new things that are going to happen, new things I'm going to do, but I'm also anxious about all the surprises that are going to happen in the future.
That's very good. Now, being a cellist, and you're going through changes, how is all of this affecting your cello playing?
I think it's definitely reflected in how I play the cello. I started during sophomore year, actually. I've only been playing for 3 years, and I think I've grown a lot since then.
Wow. What excites you now about playing the cello versus when you first started 3 years ago?
I guess just being enveloped by the music is my favorite part, because originally I just wanted to play it because I like the cello a lot, and I think it's a really great instrument, but now being able to play the instrument and being able to be surrounded by the music is one of my favorite things.
Mm. And what does it bring to you? I mean, obviously you like a lot of different kinds of music, and does each music do something different to you, or does each music bring you to the same place, or both?
What do you mean?
Well, state of mind, so music that brings you, what touches you about different types of music?
I think different music touches me in different ways, I guess, depending on the composer, but I think the biggest difference is my mindset going into playing the actual piece. Because if I'm in a sad mood or if I'm in a happy mood, the music sounds different when I play it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very
At least to me, I notice the differences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do your friends notice the difference?
I think they do.
Mm-hmm.
In their playing also, not just in mine.
I see. And do you think you're attracted to music because you yourself have a very wide emotional range?
That's definitely one of the things that attracted me to the cello. So yeah, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. And describe your emotional range.
I'm a very empathetic person, I would say. So I can empathize with whatever I'm playing, I guess. I can feel, like, for example, I'm sure you know Elgar's cello concerto.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of that is very painful, and I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never tried to play it, but if I did, I'm sure I would definitely feel that.
That's fantastic. And what, in terms of, do you think being an empathetic person, you can actually identify with an emotion that's someone else's emotional state without your necessarily having to have experienced it yourself before hearing that music?
Yeah, I try to put myself in the shoes of the person who I'm empathizing with. So at times it can be difficult, but a lot of the time I find it kind of natural to put myself in those shoes.
Can you describe that process more? Because I think that's an incredibly important issue. I'd love to hear you sort of clarify, how do you put yourself in someone else's shoes?
I just try to see things from their point of view, I guess. whatever, like, if they give me I guess, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but if they give me context for what I'm putting myself in their shoes for, then that makes it easier because I can understand the situation and I can formulate my own opinions based on what the person I'm empathizing with would feel like.
Okay, so let's say I want you to empathize with me.
Okay.
And so how would you go about the process of putting yourself in my shoes right now?
Right now? I think first I would acknowledge the fact that I have been doing what I do for many years, and I'm kind of subtly unlocking, I guess, different ways of thinking in my head, or I guess would be your head if I was you interviewing me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't really know how to explain it a lot, but yeah.
No, I totally agree with everything you've said about, the idea of empathy and trying to identify, and I'm always trying to work on that. And for example, if I were to say I want to empathize with you and to try and figure out, okay, what's in your head, that's what I asked you, some of the questions I asked you. But I also know, since we do play the cello in common, and I was once, are you 17 or 18?
18.
Yeah, so I was once 18. I try and put myself in the mind of, someone who's about to graduate from high school, right? I went through that. It was kind of exciting. It's kind of, I am about to face the unknown, right? I was serious about playing the cello. So I can kind of put some of that in context, but obviously I'm much, 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 much older than you are. So living in a different time period. So I go through all of that to try and say, okay, well, I wonder what Ethan's going through, that kind of thing. And you said something about that you're going to do some personal traveling. Where are you going to go to?
I have plans to travel to Canada and Utah and Alaska by the end of the spring.
Nice. Are you interested in nature?
Very much, yeah.
Yeah. Like what, mountains and...
Mountains, landscapes in general, the ocean, things that men have not obstructed.
Does nature inspire you in music?
Yeah, a lot.
Like, give me an example.
I'd say if I were to just sit on a rock in the middle of a forest and play a song that I've been working on cello, I think I would play that with 10 times the emotion that I would if I were playing it in a chair in an auditorium.
Mm. And then, so if you were playing that same music in a chair in the auditorium, having played it on a rock in nature, how well are you able to recall that scene and place it in your mind when you're in the chair in the auditorium?
Sorry, repeat the question.
In other words, you've been in the place that inspires you. You're now in an auditorium and you want to try and recapture that moment of inspiration. How would you go about doing it?
I would try to put forth the serenity of the nature that I was playing in, and I would try to get others to experience that through my playing.
Mm-hmm. Would you try and recapture it visually, or would you try and recapture the state of mind you were in?
Definitely the state of mind.
The state of mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your mental, emotional state that you're trying to capture. Okay. Do you think visually, or do you think orally? What do you, what's your, what do you have a favorite way to kind of capture something?
It depends on the situation, I guess. If I'm thinking about a problem, if I'm problem solving, then usually verbally I think about it. But if I'm doing something else that requires more visual context, then visual is the way to go.
Mm-hmm. And last question, what are you most looking forward to in college?
with the unknown, I guess. I'm looking forward to discovering myself more and more.
That's great. What a great pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. Thank you.